For this Bella doll, I'll be using a 3mm crochet hook. Now for a 3mm hook, I like to use an 8-ply thread. This one for the skin tone will be a cotton and wool blend, which is 75% cotton and 25% wool. And for the colour, I'll be using this 100% cotton, but because it's only a 4-ply, I'll be using 2 strands of this so that it can match up to the thickness of this 8-ply that I have here. You'll also need some stuffing, a stuffing stick, of course a pair of scissors and a needle to sew in your ends. The Bella body starts from the head, and I start my dolls with a magic circle. Now, if you would like to see a nice slow version of how I do this, I've left a link to a video in the description box, and it just takes you through step by step of how to do the magic circle and the first round as well. So now that I've made this circle, I'm going to put 6 single crochets into there. So it's the first. Now when you're doing these first 6 stitches, just use a regular tension, because if you do them too tight, they're a bit tricky to get back into when you're doing round 2. So we've got 3, 4, 5, and just holding onto the ring with your fingers, and 6. So then just pull on that thread, and I'll be tightening that once I finish round 2. So round 2, we're going to be increasing 6 stitches. So you just insert your hook under that first V. This little straight bit down here, that was that first chain that we made just to create the magic circle. So you just ignore that and you find your first little V shape and then just do an increase into that. So that'll be your first increase, and there's 6 in total. So now we're going under the next available V to make our second increase. And the 6th increase, which brings us to the end of round 2 and gives us a total of 12 stitches. Now I like to actually place my marker in this space now. So all I do is I use a piece of thread, which I then just run through the whole doll. So I just put it into the very last stitch, just go under those V's, under there, grab the yarn, or the thread I should say, the cotton, whatever you use. You can use a stitch marker, whatever you're comfortable with, but I like to use the one thread and then just run it through the whole doll. That way I don't have to worry about it coming loose or losing it. Now, round 3 will be to single crochet 1 and an increase times by 6. So everything is by 6 because we started with the 6 stitches, and that's the way to either increase or decrease. So we'll just go back in there and do our increase. So we've done a single crochet 1 and then an increase, and you just need to do that 6 times. And now we've come to our 6th single crochet and increase, and that will give us a total of 18 stitches. So the increase is landing on the marker, which is very good. And then you can just move your marker into the position here. So just insert your hook underneath that little V, wrap the thread around and just pull through. And then I just leave the thread for the whole doll, just threading it through each time. Round 4 is to single crochet 2 and 1 increase. So it's single crochet 2 and then increase 1. And you want to do 6 sets of that. So single crochet 2, increase 1 times by 6. And we're just coming up to our final set of single crochet 2 and an increase, which is our 6th time. And that brings us to the end of the round. Round 5 is to single crochet 3 and increase times by 6. So we're just going to be doing 3 single crochets. And then an increase. And you just want to repeat that 6 times in total. And our final set of single crochet 3 and increase. And the increase will be landing on the marker, which is always good. So now we are going to be doing some rounds with just single crochets around. So now that we have our 30 stitches, the next 4 rounds will be to single crochet 30 around without any increases. So rounds 6, 7, 8 and 9 are all single crochet 30. And I'm just coming up to the end of round 6, which is the single crochet 30 round. Now, because this round didn't have any increases in it, you should notice that it's starting to just fold a little like this. And some people do like to use this side here when they're making their dolls, but I haven't tried it, so I'll just stick to what I know. And I use this side here, and you can tell because there's a whole bunch of little V's and the surface is a little rougher than this side here. But when you do this side, there's a bit of a different way how it's handled, and I haven't had enough practice to be able to do that, so I'll just stick with this one. Now you're just going to want to continue to single crochet 30. You've got your work facing this way here, and 7, 8 and 9 are all single crochet 30. So if you'd like to pause the video now, and I'll meet you back at the end of round 9. And I'm just coming up to the end of round 9, which is the last round of our 4 rounds of single crochet 30. And now for round 10 is to single crochet 4 and increase 1. So there's our 4 single crochets, and now we just increase 1, and you need to do that 6 times in total for round 10. And I've reached the end of round 10, which was our single crochet 4 and increase times by 6, with the increase landing on the marker. So round 11, 12 and 13, those 3 rounds, will be to single crochet 36 around. And I'm just coming up to the end of round 13, which is the single crochet 36, and that gives us our 3 rounds of single crochet 36. So for round 14 we're going to do our very last round of increases on her head, and that is to single crochet 5 and increase 1. 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then an increase. And you just want to do that 6 times in total, and of course the increase should be landing on the marker. So I'm just now reaching the end of round 14, which was the single crochet 5 and increase, and the increase is landing on the marker, which is always good. So here's our increase. Now for round 15, 16, 17 and 18, so those 4 rounds, you will be single crocheting 42 stitches around. So I've now just reached the very last stitch of round 18, and that gives me my 4 rounds of single crochet 42. Now, if you would like to just double check your work to make sure that you've done the correct amount of rounds, you just go behind the marker, and I just find the first place where I did the increase, well, the last place where I did increases, and this is it here where we did the single crochet 5 and an increase. Then from there, I will just count the rounds, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that tells me that I've done the correct amount of rounds. Now another example would be down here. This is where we did the single crochet 4 and increase. And there's the increase there. And there were 3 rounds of single crochet 36 after that. So we would go 1, 2, 3. And then that was our next rounds of increasing. So that just tells you that you're on the right track. Now for round 19, we will be starting all our decreases. Now this is where you have to do your stitches really nice and tight. So we will be doing a single crochet and a decrease 14 times. So single crochet 1 and decrease 1 times by 14. And you should be landing on the marker with a decrease. So keeping your stitches really tight, single crochet 1. We already did that one set. And now here I will do a decrease. So I just go into the front loops only. Then I just pull the hook back slightly and then go under that front loop as well. Yarn over and then pull through those 2 loops. Yarn over again and pull through those 2, keeping everything really nice and tight. So I'm just coming up to the 14th single crochet and decrease, and your work should really be starting to curl in now. If your decreases haven't been too tight, you won't get such a prominent shape as what I have here, because I do actually do them very tight. So we'll just finish that off and I'll show you. There's that decrease. Now you can see here my stitches here, and you can see that they are very tight. So now the next round we will need to do even tighter stitches. No, we'll just keep them the same tension as you've just did with this round, and we are going to be doing single crochet 2 and a decrease times by 7. So single crochet 2, 1 and 2, and then a nice tight decrease under that front loop and under that front loop as well, and just pull through those 2 loops, yarn over and pull through again, and that gives us our first single crochet 2 and decrease. And you just need to do that for a total of 7 times, and you should be landing on the marker with a decrease. And just doing the last set of single crochet 2 and a decrease, with the decrease landing on the marker, and just pull that through. And now would be a good time to do the stuffing, so we'll just do that. And you can just take a look at the shape of the head now before I do stuff it. And it does look quite funny right now, but once the next round of decreases are done, it'll turn out quite cute. And I do make them smaller at the top and wider at the bottom to create the chubby cheek look that I'm going for. And also when you add all the hair at the top, that just widens everything. So we'll just put some stuffing in now. And in the beginning, I just put it in with my fingers. As the hole gets smaller, I do use the stuffing stick, but I just fill it at first. And then once I've filled it quite a bit, I start focusing on putting the stuffing to the outside of those little cheeks. So that's about enough now. So I won't do the side stuffing until I've reduced another round or 2 and done part of the neck, because otherwise the stuffing will just start getting caught up in all our stitches. So that just will stuff it for now and show you that it is a nice little shape. And so now the next round is going to be to single crochet 1 and decrease 7 times. So we'll just do that together. This is a really tight round. It's the best way to describe it. So with these decreases, you just got to keep everything really nice and tight. So we'll just be doing a single crochet 1. So this is round 21. So single crochet 1 and decreasing in those front loops only. Pull through. And you're just going to do that 7 times going around, and the decrease should be landing on the marker. And our 7th single crochet and decrease lands on the marker and brings us to the end of round 21. So now for round 22, we will be doing single crochet 5, then a decrease, and then single crochet 5, and the final stitch should be a decrease. So you'll be landing on the marker with a decrease stitch. So I've got 2 there, 3, 4 and 5, and then a decrease. Got to be careful of that stuffing because it really does want to get inside that hook. So there's that single crochet 5 and decrease, and just repeat that one more time and the decrease should be landing on your marker. And the second set of single crochet 5 and decrease, which will be landing here on the marker, and brings us to the end of round 22. So now round 23 and 24 will both be to single crochet 12 around. So just go around for 2 rounds of single crochet 12, and that will complete our neck, and I'll just meet you at the marker. So I'm just coming up to the 12th stitch of round 24, and that completes my 2 rounds of single crochet 12, and that does the neck. Now because the neck is quite short, you won't need to bother about putting any wire or anything to secure the neck. But now I'll just take a little bit of stuffing. I'll just show you why I think it needs more stuffing. Down the bottom down here, you can just see all these little dents. When you push in, it just stays pushed in. It doesn't bounce back out again. So that would tell you that you definitely need some more stuffing in there, and especially in these little cheek area down here. The top of the head has enough stuffing now. So I just use these bamboo type of chopsticks that you get from those takeaway meals. It's got a tapered end on one side and then it's just nice and flat on the other. And when I'm using even smaller areas, I actually use those bamboo skewers, which are even smaller. So just take your stuffing and just take a little bit at a time for this last bit, and just push it in through the neck. And you just want to be pushing it all out, just out to the sides, because the middle of the head is all full enough now. So I just take my stick and just push it out sideways, making my way around the head with each bit of stuffing that I put in. So just making your way around, just getting the head nice and full. So you can see that it's still dented there, so it would definitely need more stuffing. And you'll be surprised how much stuffing these little toys can take. So we'll just put that in. And as you can see, like with these stuffing sticks, the wood does actually grip onto the stuffing itself because the wood is quite rough. So it just grabs onto the stuffing and pushes it in nicely. So definitely going to put some more in there, just a little more, and should be enough. So just turning it the whole time, because that will just make sure that it's spread out evenly. It's getting quite full now, so I think this will definitely be enough, this last little round of stuffing. And you can always add more as well. While we do the torso, it'll still be all open, and you can add a little more stuffing at the end before you join up for the legs. And that should be enough, I think. We'll add a little more once we've done the shoulders. So that looks pretty good now. It's nicely stuffed, so even when you push it in, it sort of wants to bounce back. So that's pretty good actually. You don't want it to be so full of stuffing that you can't push anything in, because when you do the eyes here, the embroidery stitches naturally just pull this little section in a little, so it actually gives a really nice effect. So you don't want to overstuff it either, but nice and firm. Round 25 is to increase 12. So all you're going to do is do 12 increases. You've got 12 stitches here in the neck, and you're going to increase 12 times. So there's our first increase into that first stitch. And you just want to do that 12 times, and the 12th time should be landing on your marker. And I'm just coming up to the end of round 25 with the final increase. So that gives me my 12 increases. Now round 26, at the end of round 26, we will be changing color. So basically the round says to single crochet and an increase. So single crochet 1, increase 1 times by 12. But on the very, very last stitch, don't finish that one off, and I'll meet you at the marker when you finish this round, and we'll just do the color change together. And I'm just coming up to the last step of round 26, which is an increase. So we'll just do that first single crochet, go back in again. And instead of finishing off this increase, we'll just be changing color. So just keep your 2 loops on the hook. Take your color and just thread it through, and leave yourself a little bit of a tail so that you can tie up those colors together. And don't worry about making it too tight right now, because once we've gone around and past this stitch in the next round, you'll be able to tie it all nice and tight.